Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. The clock keeps ticking. Only 28 days until we get to opening day of the 2025 Jamestown Tarp Skunks baseball season. Hello, everyone. Welcome in to another episode of Tarp Talk right here on 107.9 WRFA. I'm Dre Guinness, and coming up on the show tonight is going to be part two of my sit-down interview with the new manager of the Jamestown Tarp Skunks, Frank Jagoda III. Part one last week, we cut it right close to the middle. But this is the second part of that interview, and I know you will find it just as enjoyable as I did while I was talking to him. Really enjoyed the conversation. Can't wait to talk to him more in depth throughout the season and as the season goes on. Couple things real quick. The contest for the family 4-pack of tickets to the June 5th Jamestown Tarp Skunks Niagara Ironback game will be given away next week on the show. I originally said it was going to be this week, but I wanted to go ahead and give a little more time for people to get their entries in, and you can get your entry in simply by sending an email to tarptalk2025@gmail.com. Put tickets in the subject line. Those entries need to be in by this Sunday midnight, as I will be recording Tarp Talk early next week because I will actually be in Philadelphia Monday through Thursday, or heading down that way. I'll be in Philly for a couple of days, and you better believe that I will be looking for the best cheesesteak in Philadelphia. And if you have any suggestions, if you've been to Philadelphia, if you have any suggestions on where I should go to get the best cheesesteak in Philly, go ahead and send me an email, tarptalk2025@gmail.com. We mentioned last week that there will be a new broadcast destination for the Jamestown Tarp Skunks, and that is going to be Children's Collaborative Services, or CSS-TV. I had an opportunity to go down and actually visit the studio last week, I think it was. Met Patrick over there, met James, Danny, and the crew sat down and did an interview with Patrick and Jason Sample, who you should know from his participation in Jamestown Tarp Skunks baseball through the first couple of years. I think it was an absolutely fun interview. And to be honest with you, I was kind of surprised. It was rather nerve-wracking for me to be the interviewee. Usually I'm the guy on the other end of the couch asking the questions, and for me to have to answer questions was a little different for me. But it is streaming on css-tv.com, and that is where you will find the baseball games this year. And I did also have a chance to talk to Justin and Danny about the format and what we're looking to do. And so, we're putting the pedal to the metal, getting all of the ducks in a row, any cliche that you can think of, to try to get this ready to go. And we can't wait to get down to Dietrich Park to get the setup tested and make sure everything is working for opening day against the Batavia Muck Dogs. Opening day week is going to be jam-packed with activities that you are not going to want to miss. On the 27th is a Chamber of Commerce event. I'm trying to get some details on that, but I know the Meet the Players event is going to be Wednesday, May 28th. And talking to Christian Dulce a little bit, there may be a possibility that we might actually have a live Tarp Talk the night before opening day at the Meet the Players event, and possibly an opportunity for a little Q&A with Coach Frank Jagoda and General Manager Christian Dulce at some point during that. So mark that down in your calendar. As a matter of fact, just clear your entire opening week schedule, call out sick, take vacation days, whatever you got to do. Just make sure that you are ready and available for all the festivities that we have lined up for you for opening week. All right, coming up next is part 2 of the interview that I had with new Jamestown Tarp Skunks manager Frank Jagoda. Part 1 last week, part 2 coming up. Hope you enjoy it. At this point, where would we say percentage-wise the roster is locked down? Are we 70, 80, 90, close to 100%?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. I don't want to get too far into the weeds. I'd say we are in a good place. If the season started tomorrow, we are in a very good spot. If I will never turn down a good player. I will always make room for a good player. And, unfortunately, in the game of baseball, sometimes there's tough conversations that need to be had. And so, if you have to move on from somebody to make room for somebody else, that's just part of the baseball side of it. And it's part of the baseball business. And so, um, we'll see where we end up, but I really feel comfortable if we played today, where our roster sits. And so, loaded question. Don't want to get too far in the weeds there, but I feel really good where we're at. But we're always going to bring on good players if they could help the ball club.
Well, I had to try to get one gotcha in there, right?
Always, but hey, I'm a tough one to crack. So.
Well, now I have a challenge for this season. So, all right, so challenge laid out, challenge accepted. Let's switch tracks a little bit and talk about the coaching staff. Um, how is that shaping up? And is there anyone specifically that you want to mention as far as who they are, what their role is really going to be? How is the staff shaping up?
The staff is in a really good place. I think we're about buttoned up as we could be at this point. We had we had a unique opportunity this year to bring on a larger staff. Thanks to the board for their understanding for my vision and some things that I wanted to accomplish as a coaching staff. Obviously I'll be the manager and things of that nature, and we'll have an assistant bench coach. He'll be the bench coach and will oversee the hitters. His name's Ayande Gill. He's from Florida. He works at a very, very prominent junior college in Florida. And then a former player by the name of Colin Hauk will be with us. He played for us 2 summers ago. He is starting his coaching career this summer with us, and then I'm going to continue that next year as a graduate assistant at his current school. And then another former player by the name of Patrick DeMarco is going to be with us. He wants to start his coaching career as he gets done with his college stuff, and he's going to assist with the pitchers and kind of manage the bullpen on a game day basis. And then we have another gentleman by the name of Mike Bowles who is going to come in, and he's going to work with outfielders and kind of help with like game planning, advanced game planning, and get us ready with information for the season, or not for the season, but for the next opponent. One of the cool, unique things that we're doing this year is, we are developing and starting a data and analytics team. And so I was able to bring on, his name is Kenneth So from Rice University. Kenneth is a member of the Rice University baseball program's data and analytics team. He will head our analytics department, which is something that we've never had before. I'm very excited about that. Him and I have already had several conversations on, lineup construction and pitch usage and things of that nature, and kind of digging through our guys and trying to get under the hood a little bit and trying to find the best combinations of, pitchers grouped together or lineup situations, whatever the case may be. So really excited for Kenneth, and then Anthony Coughlin will be working with him on some data stuff and tech stuff, as well as kind of doing some basic stat keeping for us and things that we really need to keep track of on a day-to-day basis. So overall, a 5-person on-field staff and a 2-person analytics team. Obviously, Christian Doltz, who does just a phenomenal job. Him and his team have interns throughout the summer as our general manager, and then Carrie Newman will be back as our on-field athletic trainer. She does a phenomenal job. It's a great resource for our guys. Um, she spends a lot of time at the ballpark. Our guys are very fortunate to have someone like Carrie who has the want to and the desire to treat our guys and also not only treat them when something happens, but help with preventative measures as well. So we're super excited about the staff. It's a larger staff, which I think is, certainly by design, but it allows us the opportunity for our players to maximize their time with us. It's not just going to be two people, three people, and you have to work with 35, 40 players. It's going to be five people still working with the same amount of players, but you're able to spread your day out a little differently. An outfield group could be in the outfield while an infield group's in the infield and the catching group's in the bullpen, getting all getting work in because there's enough staff to do it. And I think it really bodes well when you try to manage workload management instead of having guys at the field for 12 hours a day. We could really back our day up and really condense our day and really get the most out of our players and their time and their energy cycles and things of that nature, and really get them performing at their peak when it's most important come game time at 6:30.
And I think that right there was actually going to be my next question because you've spent time working with the Tampa Bay Rays, working in pro scouting and player development. You also spent time with the Minnesota Twins and Team USA or USA Baseball as the director of national team. And I was going to actually ask you about, the way that you develop players and the way that you just laid everything out to me screams night and day. When you look at, and this is not to tear down any team in the league, but if you look at a team like say Niagara Falls, say Geneva, even Newark, where you could tell, it's a smaller staff and maybe certain players aren't getting some of the certain attention that they need, or it's just not as easy to work under, having a few people delegated to so many tasks. And I was going to ask you about that, but it seems like you have already brought in um, basically the foundations of what a major league team would do to develop their players. And how hard was it to convince the board to be allowed to expand the staff, or were they pretty much, you were laying it out and they were nodding their head and just ready to go at that point?
Well, I think the board, it, first of all, they want to win baseball games, right? And that's our goal here. Obviously, our goal is to grow baseball in the community, and our goal is to have community members involved in our organization and have multiple touch points throughout the county, which I think we accomplished that. And the on-field goal has always been the same. We want to win a championship, and I'm not saying that this is going to do that, but I certainly don't think it's going to hurt. It's going to help. And I'm not going to speak at all about other clubs and what they do. I don't care what they do. There's good baseball players all over the country. There's really good baseball players in our league, and most importantly, there's really good players in our division, and they're on every team. So, we could have the greatest coaching staff in the world, the most, resources, the technology, the data, the analytics, and then we still have to perform. Like I said at the beginning of the call, the standard and expectation starts with me. I have to perform, the staff has to perform, but then the players have to perform. So, to answer the question of, was it hard to convince the board? No, it was never really about convincing. It was just about open and honest discussion and dialogue and conversation on how do we grow our group? How do we grow our franchise? And how do we help take those potential next steps to get us to where we want to get to? And I think we just kind of came to a consensus and an agreement that this is one way that we could help accomplish that. We still have to do it. The on-field staff, the on-field team, like we have to do it between the white lines. Baseball is not played in a batting cage. Baseball is not played, on a computer or an iPad. Baseball is played on the field, and I think the resources that you find on a computer or an iPad or in the cage are just tools and vehicles to help you drive towards your goals. At the end of the day, you still have to do it. So the onus is still on us to perform.
One last thing that I want to cover in this interview. And, we'll definitely have you on again as we are running pretty close to time here. Um, the one thing about the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League that I find intriguing is the 10-man batting lineup. And I probably want to say around the midpoint of the season last year, it occurred to me that, in a standard 9-person lineup, you're usually putting your speedsters in the 1-2 spot, your power guys in the 3 through 5, and then your serviceable to average hitters, toward the bottom of the lineup. With the 10-man roster, it almost allows you to build too many lineups. If you think about it, looking at 1 through 5, you can do two speedsters, two power guys, and an average guy to fill it up, and then flip that script again. You got two speedsters, two power guys. If you have four guys that you can slot into those, um, have you? And the reason I bring this up is have you given any thought to how to build a competitive and possibly unique lineup with this 10 batter format? Or how do you approach building your starting lineup in as far as where you put your power guys, where you put your speedsters, where you put your serviceable batters?
Yeah, it's really funny. Before our call today, we had a board meeting, and I mentioned the sleepless nights have started. So I think about our roster constantly. I think about our lineup constantly. I've sent multiple iterations of a game one, potential game one, game two, kind of first weekend type lineup to Christian Doltz and our board member of ours, Anthony Barone, who's a manager in pro ball with the Milwaukee Milkmen, Jamestown native, Chuck County Hall of Fame inductee, dear friend of mine. And so he's a baseball confidant for me. And we bounce a lot of things off each other, have for years. And so, as I go through it, I think that I would probably have a non-traditional lineup as is. I do hear you. I hear you, Dre, on your speedsters up at the top and your power hitters kind of in the middle, and then your kind of average to serviceable hitters. I like to look at the lineup a little differently. I think it would be really cool to have a chance to be up 1-0 after the first batter every game, and so I like someone with a little bit of thump near the top, in the 1-2 spot, or someone has some barrel feel and some barrel control that can end up on second base, and you're off and running with runners in scoring position early. That doesn't mean that a speedster or somebody with that more traditional 1-2 type profile isn't that guy. And the lineup could change on a daily basis. It's going to take time. The thing about a league like this is you only have 46 games, and you also have a good bit of players early on that you want to get in. So sometimes it could be hard to get into a flow. But I would tend to lean towards someone that is a high contact rate, which is typical, but also someone who's got a little bit of thump, kind of in that one hole that can end up on second base without having to steal or get a guy there that way. So I don't want to give out too many trade secrets or anything like that. You never know who's listening, but no, there is that thought of like you said, too many lineups, and how do you break that up? You know, the 10 batter minimum is or the 10 batter rule is unique because you could get creative with your off days with your players, where you have that extra person you can put in a lineup, and maybe you could get a guy a blow, get his legs a blow because he doesn't have to play short, or he doesn't have to catch, squat behind the plate and catch. Maybe it's that two-way guy who, you know, you have a hitter that you need to DH that day, and oh man, what do you want to do? You want to keep the other player in the lineup, and so now you have that extra hitter spot that you could use, and you could alleviate, like I said, workload management when it comes to some of those two-way guys. So we'll get creative in how and who we deploy that position, but I really think it comes down to, at the end of the day, it just kind of comes down to the flow of your team, and that could be on paper today as we sit. It could look one way, and then we could get to that first few days of practice, and we'll have an inter squad mixed in, and we'll have some live VP and some pitchers throwing to hitters. And I could change my mind 6 times before opening day on May 29th. So it's really hard to commit to it now. But to answer your question, I think about it daily, pretty much hourly at this point, where I'm just trying to find the best combinations and multiple combinations. And then the other thing we have to balance is who's going to show up on time. And that's just solely because we have players from good programs that are at good schools that may still be playing, whether it's in regionals or super regionals, or maybe like a Division II or a Division III College World Series or a Junior College World Series, whatever the case is, or high school state playoffs. We might have to juggle our lineup and our roster the first few days as it is, because guys might still be playing at their colleges, which would be outstanding for them and their program and their student athlete experience. So there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that you have to consider. And, at the end of the day, our guys are going to have to compete. They're going to have to compete not only with themselves, but with each other. One thing that I like to put on my lineup card every day when it says opponent is, I don't put, Batavia or Elmira or Geneva as our opponent and then their lineup. When you write down the opponent, I just put ourselves, right? We're in life, we're our own worst enemy, we're our own opponent, and the game is hard enough, so we just need to go out and compete and give it our best every single day. And the lineup stuff will take care of itself, but you'll probably see a little bit more of a non-traditional look from me, I would think, on most cases.
Frank Jagoda, May 29th is coming up soon. And I can tell you, for myself, I'm excited for opening day, and I know you are too.
Yeah, I'm excited, and a little bit of a plug to the group and our board and our investors and Christian Dulce and his staff and everything that we have going on at the ballpark this year. It's a great opportunity. It's a fairly inexpensive, fun-filled family atmosphere. Obviously, great opportunity to come down and watch good baseball all summer long, and would love to have as many fans at every game as possible. Love for you guys to bring the noise and have a good time.
And we had to end it there. Unfortunately, the Zoom timer on the interview ran out right at the end. But I do want to thank Frank Jagoda for spending the time, almost 40 minutes, just talking about what is possible for the 5th anniversary season of the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. Next week on the show, we're going to have our first actual player interview, as we will have Branston Lindquist on the show. Looking forward to talking to him, so you are not going to want to miss that one bit. Also, if you've been following the Tarp Skunks on social media, Facebook, Instagram, even on the website, we have been releasing Welcome to Jamestown posts with the players that we can expect to don the blue and white for the Tarp Skunks. And one that just came out Tuesday, so I guess yesterday when this airs, is a player that I think I made brief mention of without actually mentioning his name a week or so or two ago. And that is Jacob Haynes out of Claridge, Pennsylvania. He is a sophomore catcher first baseman out of Seton Hill University. And the reason I am so excited about Jacob joining the ball club is that I've been following some of these guys that have been announced already through their college websites. And Jacob is one of those guys that when you just look at his stats, you start to salivate. You can't wait to see what he's going to bring to the table. Currently, for Seton Hill, batting .312 with an OPS of 1.1, 125 at-bats, 39 hits, 32 runs, 9 doubles, 12 home runs. This guy is a masher. 35 RBIs, 84 total bases. He's walked 17 times, struck out 30, so he's not afraid to swing the bat. He's only grounded into 2 double plays and is 4 for 7 on stolen base attempts. If those stats are not enough to make your mouth water, then you might need to go down to UPMC and get your pulse checked, because those are very exciting numbers, and I can't wait to see how those translate to Dietrich Park this summer. Don't forget to get your season tickets. We're going to talk about it every single week up until the beginning of the season. Just go to the website, JamestownTarpSkunks.com. Click on tickets and go to the single and season ticket tab. That will get you to all of the information for you to get your season tickets for the upcoming 2025 campaign. Also, help the Jamestown community youth attend Tarp Skunks games for free by donating to the Whiffy Fund. Last year, the Whiffy Fund helped 2,500 Jamestown and neighboring community youths attend Tarp Skunks games free of charge, and you can help us break that 2,500 number by going to the website, JamestownTarpSkunks.com, clicking on the Whiffy Fund tab, and going down where it says click here to donate, click on the here link, and that will take you to where you can donate and help Jamestown community youth attend Tarp Skunks games absolutely free of charge. All right, we're about ready to round third and head for home plate here. But before we do, again, don't forget next week, Branston Lindquist will be joining us on the program. Very excited to have him on the show as well. Don't forget to mark your calendars for the Meet the Player event. That is going to be May 28th. We may or may not have a live Tarp Talk at that event. We're still hammering out early logistics at this point. So, but we're looking at it, and it is a very strong possibility that will happen. Also, again, I want to thank Patrick over at ccs-tv.com for the sit-down interview with myself and Jason Sample. We got to talk about basically what makes Jamestown Tarp Skunks baseball special, and the fact that we're getting kids involved in the broadcast. I think that is an absolutely beautiful thing, because, this game is not just for kids to play, but the kids that can't play between the lines, they still love baseball, and this is their way of staying involved. And I am absolutely 100% down for that. All right, that's going to do it for us here on Tarp Talk. Don't forget, you can enter to win your family 4-pack of Jamestown Tarp Skunks tickets to the June 5th game against the Niagara Ironbacks, the first ever meeting between these two teams. It's the Ironbacks' first ever game, so this is your chance to witness history on Tarp Talk. Just send an email to tarptalk2025@gmail.com before Sunday at midnight, and we will get you entered. All right, that's going to do it for Tarp Talk. I'm Dre Guinness. Thank you very much for tuning in. Until next week, good night, everybody.
There's no place like our little home park, wearing Tarp Skunks jersey and hat. Under warm summer lights, we might be here all night. Skunk fun, there's nothing